Just to end the video properly, this model has taken a long time to perfect, and I hope you enjoy the films, because I have a lot of fun making them. A lot of these films, image-wise, are done in one sitting. I could sit here for an hour and a half to get the entire film images for the entire video. And I hope you really enjoy watching them. And I support and thank anyone for watching my work. So with that, like one famous director said, run. Run, Martin, run. Hi, my name is Charlotte Brown, and I want to take you through this model, as displayed at Edinburgh from this section, and this was displayed at Edinburgh in 2025. This is all built from my mind, where I once volunteered in this very outlook for the building, but I volunteered in a place very similar to this. Not only does it boast the detail now, but this is about 7 years and 5 months worth of work. By this point, the year after, this year, I displayed this piece. Now this is again built from my mind, from different aspects of buildings I've ever watched or seen throughout my life. These buildings reflect a very interesting look at how the mind can produce something that some would use images to refer back to. Now, I really like to take you through these details. The first thing you'll notice is the famous Mr. Allen, who is in the SFA series, as Celtic FC is his assumed name. The assumed name SFC, or Celtic FC, is a derivative of all the Scottish football teams that comes under the banner. So, the first thing you'll notice is AC04 OAP Street. This is named after a very interesting number plate I once saw walking out my house and this saw it in the street one day. And I liked the name so much that I ended up using it to honor the character of the referee. The next section you will notice bricked in. Now this section depicts the Edinburgh statue in honor of the formal invitation back in 2025. This is where the name Bricked In actually comes from. The name Bricked In stands for Edinburgh Coffee Shop, and it is in actual fact an anagram that somebody suggested to use for the event. Now, the story behind this was the building was rebuilt in the 1800s after a very, very heavy bombardment from cannonballs, which could cause some serious damage to buildings such as this. But that's not where the story ends. By the time we get into the next part of the model, we are now into the modern street, built in 1934. This boasts Collier's Coffee Shop. Of course, you can see it's depicted by a window. And then we boast into the next section. At the top, we have Bert's Cabs, the taxi office where the famous Bert, also known as Doorman of the Taxi! Doorman of the Taxi! What are you going to talk about Doorman and the rugby player? Okay then. And of course, this is where the famous stories unfold in earlier episodes of 2025 with we buy used CDs and LPs. Of course, the famous KCC. This is a record shop that Alex and Chris are often, as the storylines go, taking the freebies, which is often remarked as Marilyn Manson, because it's an old joke from when I was younger. Now, when we move over to the next section, if I just go around the corner, seldomly unused part here, we have the Lego Post Office, built in 1954 for the building, featuring the 1954 Lego logo. We move into the bike repair shop. This shop has existed since 2025 and has had many adaptations over the years. The shop itself is a very interesting mix of old and new. Then we have the Rothian tree. Now this tree, I did a bit of research after saying I'm going to put a 9,000-year-old tree into the model. And yes, indeed, this part of the section, where the tree is 9,000 years old, is indeed the Camin Durandi, the walkway of the castle defenders. Not to mention its merlons at the top, which were used for decoration to show the wealth of the castle and its builder. When we swift into the top of the interior build, we reach the roof garden. Now this garden was designed based on very European design. And what I mean by that is the roof garden itself depicts a very different and more modern feel to the building that was rebuilt. The story behind this is, in World War II, the building yet again sustained some damage, and in 1943, as the fictional story goes, the only surviving part was this wall. And the Caminderande took some damage, but you can tell the ruffian tree wrapped itself around its walls and created a very interesting mix of something you would never have expected. The tree grew out of the wall and grew in and around the wall and twisted itself until eventually it became part of the wall. Then we have a Templar Knights memorial based on history. This was a very nice memorial added to the Templar Knights that were judged quite badly by a lot of people during their reign. In the interior, you'll see where I once volunteered, and this has been redetailed over the years. When it first started, this was just a base plate with some tables. Now, it is the crowning glory of the original 1,200 episodes of the Glenrothes ones since the 23rd of January 2020. Now, once we get past this part of the street, which is the older build, we move into the modern build. Now, this is a new build after Adam Brick, built on the 12th. Actually, as soon as I got back from Adam Brick, this was actually built on the 11th of May. Featuring one of my favorite horror movies, Halloween, and Glenrothes Kino Cinema. Below the Glenrothes Kino Cinema, for those who may know what this place is, Groucho's. Groucho's is a very famous record shop that's been out for a long time, but now shut down. I could have so easily done this so differently, but I wanted to represent not a coffee shop. I wanted to represent the man himself and his lasting legacy. So, below the cinema, there is this lovely old record shop, lost in time, even featuring the Groucho's logo and a very nice marquee at the top, much similar to the Kino, depicting all the album covers that would have once displayed in his window throughout the years of being open. Even the decoration at the top, which I was referencing in my mind to LEGO modular city builds that I'd seen in books, but with nothing in front of me, recreating what I wanted to see. The next part, we have now got my 2 display bricks from Edinburgh, and now we have LEGO House. This is where it gets really fun. LEGO House, although it doesn't look like LEGO House, but I tried to reference as much as I could from watching or seeing a photo in my mind that I saw years ago. We have some nice colorful bricks, and I want to explain what these are. The first brick you're going to see is you're going to see a lamppost similar to these white ones using white head pieces, but what you're looking at is LEGO colors. And not one of these bricks is fake LEGO. The LEGO house itself, when I zoom into the kitchen, features a minifigure patent and a table with minifigures and random parts. Very clinical, but like the real LEGO from what I read in the books, they have nothing to go by around them. The next thing you'll notice is the different colors that form around the model. These indeed are the colors represented by LEGO, and the only part of the model where the color is seen. If I just go to the corner of this build, you will find genuine LEGO bricks in various colors, from LEGO Friends to very vintage colors. The LEGO house also boasts a statue featuring a penguin person torso and head, a LEGO house logo and a LEGO logo, and a red helmet to represent the early space helmets, but a modern version. The backdrop I have custom built from PNGs I found online, but added a nice sort of different image behind it to make it look like a 3D building effect. There is a reverse side to this, and it is very interesting. This is built using genuine LEGO parts, and this is Chuck's Barber, based on a barber I do use. But, again, it features one of my custom Peanuts drawings, which is Charlie on the Sled with Snoopy. And I'm going to zoom into this because I'm very proud of my Peanuts drawings. And you could probably tell that Chuck's Barbers was established in 1950. To be exact, the 3rd of October 1950. The first Peanuts story published. The detailing in all the posters are done in A4, which means they're done in a bigger scale, so when this camera zooms right in, you can actually read what's on the paper. Then you'll notice the normal lampposts have returned because we've left the Lego house section and we've gone back into the model. When we look at the top, I'm sure we all get this joke, for older needs above the barber shop. But we all know minifigures have wigs. So therefore, what does it sell? Well, wigs. At the top, you will find genuine Lego parts recreating something. I just envisioned this in my head. I wanted to see what it would look like to have clear, transparent pieces. And you'll find out how it's lit up once I've gone through the model. But I wanted this to represent something spectacular, something amazing. And that's what I did. I created a more modern feel to windows. And of course, collars at the top, taking pride and glory in both parts. This street, if you're wondering, is called 4th Road Street. Of course, it isn't based on the new bridge. It's in fact based on the original rail bridge, if it's a street name. When we shift to the right here, you will notice the detailing on this road is very more Roman in style and very older. Again, I take great pride in making these models and I don't like seeing them look horrible. So, when we shift the end to the right and then a bit into the right from this area, we're now moving in to the Old Joe Memorial Pitch. And this was built in honor of a team who view my work and have great respect for it. Featuring a very modern but very old effect roof, and it's meant to represent an older style build. Now you will notice the lights are actually allowing all these details to become very nice to go through, but shining through like glass. When we look at the front, you will find that this front piece is very well designed. I don't know if it's well designed, but it's a bit more designed than it should be. Featuring again the floodlight effect and a plaque to represent. Of course, when we move down into the model, you will find Old Joe here. This man was a legend, of course, to many people in this team, and for that reason, it got named his memorial pitch. When you actually take a good look inside, you will see the same pieces used as the Taj Mahal for flooring, and some very nice white golds in the corner. So, that brings us to the back of the model. How's this model lit up? Well, if you look at the back, you will find these are on battery boxes. I love ecologically friendly things, and if I can do it, I will use battery boxes to save electricity, but also power banks that allow it to be lit up. And now, the daytime back shot of the insert at the back. Underneath, you will find these are on tables. You can find some nice bags of Lego, which I'm sure you'd all love to see. Some custom minifigures. So, we have Scott, of course, who is the most famous character in the series at the moment. And I'm sure we all know about comedy, but get in focus. We have got Scott from Colliers, who is one of the, So, if I can get this in focus. This, no, doesn't want to focus. Okay. I don't like when it doesn't focus, but anyway. So, we have got Scott himself, and he is an interesting character. He has appeared in over 45 episodes. We got Mr. Chris Smith, who starred in a Dundee Cherry Team VIP DVD. Of course, the title of the DVD was the Team VIP DVD. Mr. Thomas himself, the bike repairman. Greg, the man who runs a record shop. That infamous number 8, notorious for being cheeky to Mr. Cruikshank every time he can. And at the back, Myth number 8. Gwan. Of course, she should be a blonde character, but we have Gwan, and a couplet sister to one of the characters, Roxy Polecat, an older representation, Mr. Alexander Smith, in his other alternative after being zapped, Mr. Burt himself, the taxi driver, Mr. Alexei Sayle, and if you don't know who Alexei Sayle is, look up the young ones. Lindsay Clark, a very original character from the Gunrafis Food Bank series. We have Elizabeth, a friend of mine. And finally, Xander the Fire Witch, who appeared in many Sarah Halloween themed episodes. This brings me to my next section. This section is the most exciting because this is where the Halloween specials come to play. I often collaborate with our friends, and sometimes I'll be known to art or figures specifically for that purpose. We have Link himself. Of course, he appeared in one, or maybe a few episodes actually, and these are 2 customs that I ordered off Minifigure Bricks UK. This is the very first custom I ever picked up, which was Stan Lee, Mr. Hannibal Lecter, everyone's favorite. Of course, mostly for Halloween. Deadpool, who has appeared in a few. Captain Spaulding, of course, a classic movie, but as you can tell, he comes in handy for Halloween. Edward Scissorhands, one of the most definitively great Tim Burton movies. 2 Pennywises. We have the first Pennywise, we have the second Pennywise. And these Pennywises have appeared in Halloween specials. Doug Bradley, of course, we all know as Pinhead himself. I have 2 of these. One where his arms can move out, and I mean to move out. And one where his arms just swing backwards and forwards. The Alien, who's often voiced as Rick Mayall, and Ed Edmondson, who's often the Predator. The Grinch! We love a Christmas special with the Grinch. Of course, he is so fun a voice, but sometimes it's hard to get people to watch those ones. Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger came in handy for a Christmas special, or actually a Halloween special last year. Everyone's favorite Leatherface. Of course, another handy one for the Horror League storyline with the referee. Mario! But nobody wants to see that. I cannot wait for the real minifigure to come out. Michael Myers, Terrifier, and of course, Chucky. Everyone loves Chucky. At Adam Brick, everyone kept telling me about Chucky. And Ozzy Osbourne, who was often in a lot of my episodes. This man is absolutely in a lot of my episodes. So you get an idea. The model has taken 7 years and over 5 months to get where it is today. I could tell you when this model was first made. It was actually first made on the 22nd of January 2020. When this model was finished with the work on it, it was only 2 days ago. But to stand at 140 centimeters long, and frankly, one of the only models I've ever built that has been up this long. This model will never come down. This is my lifelong project, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I am Charlie Brown, and I must go.